about that. So good afternoon, everybody. It's a pleasure to host this series. I believe that one of the biggest or most important things about artificial intelligence is the fact that we are looking at a future or a new paradigm, especially where we are in the age of information. I mean, if you look at technology and if you look at where we have reached now, from the discovery of fire to the realized that human beings have always evolved in technology and its use cases. We are at a situation or at a point now where the age of information is not just about being able to generate information, but also being able to process that information in a way that supports decisions. Artificial intelligence is not a wholly new concept, or technology as we know it and its advancement now is not a wholly new concept. It is something that has gradually evolved to this stage. And we are at a point where the tools that we use are not tools that require direct human inputs like we used to have previously. And it is very crucial and critical at this point now that we begin to examine how these tools or these things that are at our disposal, especially with the kind of infrastructure that we have. When I say infrastructure, I'm not localizing it to only, let's say, Ghana or Accra, but worldwide. The fact that you have connectivity, the fact that you have real-time decision-making solutions, and the fact that these things transcend beyond just, let's say, information technology into areas like into health, into economics, into data analytics, into social life, social engineering, marketing, governance, anti-corruption and corruption, finance. These are all very huge derivatives where some of the concepts that have been typically limited to computer scientists are now being opened to the to the wide domain of users in the world. So we are, I think, at a critical tipping point. I think just last week, Bill Gates released a 7-page blog, which I would encourage all of you to look at, which was looking at some of these things and the future of the world as we know it. I think that we are now moving into an age or into a paradigm where we are transitioning from just the use of computers to the use of artificial intelligence and other such derivatives. And within the next few years is going to be the buzzword that everybody is going to be swearing by. With this, of course, we have experts today that are going to handle these topics very well. And we will be all paying rapt attention to listen to and understand the concepts that they'll have to share with us. And I believe that it will generate discussions that are fruitful and will give knowledge to everybody else. I myself am hoping to learn a few things here and there because in this particular age and time, the knowledge base is expanding at an exponential pace where just knowing one thing today will be obsolete by tomorrow. Sometimes even in hours, your knowledge can be obsolete. So I think now we have to defer to the experts to give us their, their appraisal of the situation and where we are, and keep us on the top of our toes and keep us on the bleeding edge, so to speak, so that at least we'll all learn something and equip ourselves with what is going to be the future. So over to you, MC. Let's get this rolling.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, for those wonderful opening remarks. I believe that this sets the tone for us to delve into the matters. And we are pleased to have Dr. Samuel Chris Quist, who is going to do an introduction of the panel members. Then after that, we'll go into proper discussion. So Dr. Chris, if you are ready, please go take over and then introduce our panelists for today.
Right, thank you, Mr. MC, and we are all welcome to this wonderful webinar. And today we have two astute professionals in their own right to help us deal with this menace of artificial intelligence. This, as the head of department said, intelligence created by humans that is taking over humans' tasks. And we have these two very wonderful professionals to take us through. And as it's the ladies first, so I'll start with our lady panelist. So we have first Miss Winifred Cotton. And Miss Winifred Cotton is a technology and innovation expert and an entrepreneur who combines business acumen and intuition with technologies and data to harness market opportunities for economic gains and increasing human abilities. She's the co-founder of Superfield Labs, a pioneering data, AI, and consumer analytics multinational company that is unlocking profitable growth for several businesses across digital ecosystems, financial services, agriculture, and clean energy verticals in Ghana. Her extensive expertise as technology, digital, and data-driven transformation experts cut across designing, developing, and implementing digital and data-driven solutions to leading the strategic direction for market development, expansion, and consumer growth. Her 17 plus years of practice experience span diverse industries, including banking, payments, consumer retail, technology, and clean energy verticals. Ms. Cotton is also very passionate about diversity, gender, and inclusion initiatives and activities, and enjoys speaking, writing, and mentoring engagements. She holds a BSc Computer Science degree and an MBA in Finance and several certificates program. Her speaking expertise draws from a deep understanding of the data, technology, artificial intelligence, digital transformation landscape, and venture building in African markets. Her problem-solving and solution expertise and deep understanding of how power data, digital technologies, and artificial intelligence unlocks profitable growth drives her thoughts, leadership engagement. As a subject matter expert in innovation, technology, data, AI, and digitization, Winifred, our panelist, also provides advisory and consulting services to business leaders, startups, investors, and developing agencies on various things, including data and AI strategy, digital transformation strategy, market research insights for innovators and businesses, product and service innovation, customer growth and customer retention programs, design and implementation support, as well as business transformation. Our second panelist, who is another astute lecturer, Dr. Dixon Kendiwonyo, is a highly accomplished and experienced computer science lecturer with specialization in the fields of machine learning and artificial intelligence. With over a decade of experience in academia, Dr. Dixon has developed a reputation as an expert in his field, with records of accomplishment of producing groundbreaking research and publications. Dr. Kedi received his bachelor's degree in computer science where he developed a keen interest in machine learning and artificial intelligence. He went on to pursue his master's degree in computer security at the Nanjing University of Science and Technology, China, during which time he began to focus on cryptography and network security and how they can be applied to solve real-world problems. During his PhD at the Jiangsu University, Dr. Keddie developed deep into the field of machine and artificial intelligence and developed several novel approaches to training deep neural networks. His work was recognized by a wider research community, and he was invited to present his findings at several prestigious conferences and events. After completing his PhD in 2019, he joined the faculty at the University of Professional Studies, Accra, where he has been lecturing courses in the IT department. In addition to his teaching and supervision duties, Dr. Keddie has continued to conduct cutting-edge research in machine learning and artificial intelligence. He has published several highly cited papers in top-tier journals and conferences, and his work has been recognized with numerous awards and accolades. Dr. Keddie is known for his passion for teaching and his dedication to his students. He is committed to helping his students develop a deep understanding of the principles of machine learning and artificial intelligence, and to providing them with the skills and knowledge they need to excel in their future careers. His innovation, research, and his commitment to excellence make him a highly respected, influential figure in the field of computer science. Today, we have these two wonderful professionals, Ms. Winfred Cotton and Dr. Dickson Keddie Wonyo, as our panelists and discussants. Let's welcome them for them to take control of today's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chris, for that wonderful profile reading of our panelists. Now, I think with these rich insights that we've been giving on our panelists, I'm sure that we will all agree that we are in for a very great time. And we don't want to waste so much time. We quickly want to invite our Vice Dean, who is going to moderate the session, because it deviates from the usual webinar that we have. This is going to be a discussion. So our Vice Dean, who is going to moderate that for us, is in the person of Dr. Emmanuel Owusu-Oware. We believe that Dr. Owusu-Oware would guide our panelists in this insightful and thought-provoking and engaging this discussion. Dr. Owusu-Oware also doubles as the chair for the committee that puts up this webinar series. Ladies and gentlemen, please let's receive Dr. Emmanuel Owusu-Oware.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. MC, and good afternoon to you all. And I'm sure we are all eager to get to the point of the discussion. My role is just to stimulate the discussion by asking a set of questions, guided questions, so that we are able to cover all the necessary grounds. That's not to say there wouldn't be any questions and answers. There will be questions and answers time after I've done my structured question asking. Yeah, so without much time wasting anymore, we go straight to the discussion. I'm going to ask a set of questions, and the panelists, they are free to speak to it or even make a presentation if they so wish. Yeah, so here we go, and we kickstart it. All right, so we want to look at what we mean by artificial intelligence. So my first question is to the panelists. Can you please explain artificial intelligence in very simple terms to the audience, especially to the students? We have quite a number of them here, and the general public in attendance. So that's my first question to both panelists, so they can take it and handle it as they so wish. So maybe we start with Ms. Putin.
All right, thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. Thanks for having me here. It's a great honor and privilege, and we're looking forward to a very exciting conversation. So when we talk of artificial intelligence, basically it means our ability to teach a computer to act with some form of human-like intelligence to perform a specific task. So whenever we teach a computer or a computer-powered device or machine to act with some form of human intelligence, at that moment, we would say that artificial intelligence is at play. And the abilities we teach the computer is based, or the machine is based on what we know as human beings and how our minds work. And then also based on the computing power and capabilities machines have been designed to have. So when we put our bit of what we know and how we know how to do it into a machine, we now call it and allow the machine to do the task as if we were doing it. We will say artificial intelligence is at play. And some of the examples of these human abilities we can train a machine or a computer to perform are chatting, like normal conversation. So at this moment, we are having a conversation. This conversation could have well been carried out between a human being and a machine with responses. So ask questions, responses, ask questions, responses, like we have normal conversations. And then the machines can also be trained and taught how to recommend, make recommendations. So recommend an action, or it can also be trained to decide to make judgments. So making judgments is another human ability we have, which we have been able to successfully train a machine to do. And then also to predict future outcomes. So for instance, as at now, there are some people here who may be able to predict with accuracy some events that would happen tomorrow or in the future time. With our AI capabilities today, we are also equally able to predict with a degree of accuracy. So with a measure of accuracy, so when we talk about AI, the accuracy of predictions is a very key importance tool that we always mention. So degree of accuracy could be 80%, could be 90%, or could be 20%. Then we'll say the AI model may not be fit for purpose for use. So generally, I would say this is what AI means. It's our ability to train a machine to act in a way that human beings would have acted in terms of intelligence. And the applications are numerous. So we have autonomous driving vehicles now. The vehicles are machines, but we put AI intelligence models in them to be able to make judgments. So like I have this image here, the autonomous vehicle is making judgments based on distance of objects, recognition of objects, because it's been trained to do that, and it will act in terms of the speed it would apply during acceleration based on the training it has received as to the distance to travel based on the closeness between two or more objects within its perimeter. This is another good example of AI application.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Ms. Putin. And I want us to go systematically. We take it as such. Okay, so can we have Dr. Dixon to speak to what we mean by artificial intelligence in a very simple term to the ordinary person who may want to know about artificial intelligence? And Dr. Dixon, I know you have quite a number of, so just extract the relevant parts, then I'll move on to the next question concerning the components. I mean, what does artificial intelligence look like? Okay, so let's go systematically. Okay, all right.
All right, thank you very much, and greetings to all listeners. So to begin with artificial intelligence, I want to take it from the information age. Since we're in the 21st century now, which can also be equated as the information age, we have had millions and wonderful evolutions of technologies, such as big data, Internet of Things, etc. But then our focus today is on artificial intelligence. Now, one will ask, what is artificial intelligence? We can have technical definitions to it, but this time around, we want to simplify it so that we will all be on the same page. So we are saying here that an artificial intelligence is a computer that can see, hear, read, and then make decisions, and also perform tasks based on the information it learns. So once we have a computer that has this attribute or that can do what we just mentioned, maybe a computer that can see, a computer that can read, a computer that can hear, and then based on these properties or these features, it is able to perform a task. So, and once it's able to perform a task, since it learns so much from a lot of data, it is also able to also learn from large data. And another school of thought can also be said that AI is the ability for machines to learn, to think, and behave like human beings. So just like computers thinking like humans. So for example, today we have a whole lot of technologies that falls under this, simple explanation. Okay, so now if you should look at what AI is here, we are saying that for the very first time, we now have billions of people who have access to this technology. These technologies has been with us since, but then sometimes we do not even realize we are using AI. Sometimes we don't even realize we are using AI. So if you should look at some basic examples here, spell checks and autocorrect. Sometimes you are typing something on your phone. You just start with the first two letters and then it gives you to use the tab key to complete typing that word. Or sometimes we even type a whole lot and then we don't even realize we've done mistakes. They are being corrected automatically. And then with correction or with spell checks, it also helps us to correct our wordings that we spell wrongly. And today we all have smartphones. Sometimes we use facial recognitions to access our phones. This and many more. Sometimes we use all this, but we do not realize we are using artificial intelligence. Now, if we should also speak about recommendation systems, sometimes you visit any website or you visit YouTube or you visit Netflix, and then you type in a movie you want to see. Once you see that movie, the next time you visit that site or that movie, Netflix or YouTube or Spotify, you can see that it gives you recommendations of the kind of search you always would put inside the search button. So basically, when we say artificial intelligence, we are talking about machines that can see, that can hear, and that can also perform tasks based on the data it learned from. Thank you.
Visine, I think you should unmute yourself.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so thanks so much for our panelists for giving us insight into what we mean by artificial intelligence in simple terms. So basically what you are saying is that artificial intelligence is a machine that can behave like a human being, has cognitive capabilities, can learn, can think, and also has it can read, can see, can hear, and so forth. And they've given us some examples. I know I'm constraining them to the questions. I know they have quite some slides that we put together, and they need to extract from those sections. But we want to go systematically. Then at some point they are free to delve into other areas. Okay, so the next point concerning what is artificial intelligence is what is the makeup? What is the makeup of an AI? What is the makeup of an artificial intelligence? How does it look like? How does it look like? What is the makeup of an artificial intelligence? Okay, so the panelists again, they can take it. Ms. Putin, you want to go first?
All right, let me just show a slide here. So when we speak about the makeup of artificial intelligence, it starts with data. It starts with data. Data is the main need, followed by something we call the intelligence layer, which is called the neural network. And if we want to mimic it to our minds, when Dr. mentioned we see, it's able to see, it's able to hear. Seeing, hearing is, we receive information through these senses. So the data is the information which is fed into the machine. And then the machine has a brain for processing that kind of information. And the processing abilities in AI is based on a set of instructions, which we call algorithms. So this set of instructions are those that teach the AI that when you see an image, treat it as such. If you see the image of a dog, name it as such, classify it as such, and then respond to it as such when given a task. So that set of instructions is called algorithms, and they are mathematical instructions. And then we also have another important component, which we call machine learning models. Machine learning models are an expression of the algorithm that allows the algorithm, which is the instruction, to go through the set of data that has been fed it to identify patterns or make predictions. And this is only possible when you consistently train it with the kind of data you need it to be able to understand and learn from. And then you give it the set of instructions it needs to act on the data each time the data is presented to it. And of all of these things, one very important thing I like to always talk about is human beings. So without the human beings, no one would feed the machine or AI powered machine data. No one would be able to write the instructions or the algorithms or create the machine learning models. Then there's another important component, which are the technologies. So the technologies are the one that allows us to be able to capture data into the AI model, to be able to process the data, analyze it, build predictive models, deliver insights, useful insights, and then perform an action, which is usually the outcome of the AI process. So these are the core components or the makeup of any AI model we would see, and they are powered by humans. So people make these things possible.
All right. Thank you so much, Ms. Putin. So we'll invite Dixon to address the question: what is the makeup of an AI, and what does it look like?
Thank you. All right. So we are asking ourselves, how does the AI look like, or what makes up an AI? So basically, we have 5 components that makes up an AI. Since we are saying AI is the ability for a machine to learn, think like humans, it's basically made up of 5 basic components. That is the learning component, the reasoning component, the problem-solving component, the perception component, and then the language understanding component. Now, if you say learning, learning here is where we can make machines learn so that they can become perfect. So for example, when it comes to learning, we have different types of learning. Okay, we have the supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and then semi-supervised learning. And when we talk about supervised learning, we are talking about where we can train our models or our machines with labeled data. And when we talk about unsupervised learning, that is when we can train our machines with non-labeled data. And then semi-supervised is when we have a mixture of both labeled and non-labeled data. So it has the ability to learn from different types of learning environments. Now, when we talk about reasoning, just like human beings are able to reason, the AI is also an expert system. So therefore, it has a knowledge-based and then an inference model. So once it wants to make a decision, the decision is being made through the knowledge base, and then it confers or it agrees with the inference model, which is one database that will help it to, finalize the decision. So just like human beings think, this AI systems also think. Now, when we talk about problem solving, I believe my learned colleague spoke about algorithm. Now, AI is fully based with mathematics and programming. Now, we have very huge problem-solving techniques that for us humans, maybe it might take quite some time to do. But then AI has the ability to solve very huge problems. Now, it also perceives, perception. That means it perceives. Now, AI is more like an agent. Now, an agent is able to work very well when it perceives its environment. So, for example, as we are having this webinar, I am an agent. I am able to perceive my environment through my eyes. I can see what is really happening. So I'm able to perceive. For example, if you also have a self-driven car, the car is able to perceive its environment through its actuators. Now, actuators are basically associated to agents. Now, it's able to perceive its environment through the tires, through the brakes, through the traffic light, etc. So when we speak about perception, basically we are saying that how the AI is able to perceive its environment. Now, when we talk about language understanding, AI is able to understand different types of languages based on the training we give to it. So basically, when we say AI and what it's made up of, we can talk about these 5 components. That is learning, the learning ability, the reasoning ability, the ability to solve complex problems, then the perception ability, and then its language understanding ability. Thank you.
Thank you, panelists. We are going systematically. I see a note in the chat whether somebody can ask a question. Don't worry, there will be a Q&A session. Obviously, I can't ask all the questions. I cannot be so exhaustive. What I'm doing is a structured set of questions to tease out, the salient points concerning the topic. After that, there'll be a Q&A, and you are free to ask your questions. Okay, so now we have a good sense of what AI is. I mean, we are getting to appreciate that AI is a machine, behaves like a human being. It has a data layer. It has one algorithm, which is a set of instructions, and behaves like a brain, the brain of a human being. And we have machine learning models where it has some learning abilities. And also, Dr. Dixon alluded to the various components: learning, reasoning, problem solving. So you can see that it's a machine which has human capacities and abilities. Okay, all right. So the next question I want to ask my panelists is the usefulness of artificial intelligence. So in what ways are artificial intelligence systems useful to an individual, a business, and society as a whole? Please give illustrative examples, and possibly if you want to do a demo, we'll be very happy to look at it. So if you can take us into the usefulness of AI, subsequently we'll be looking at the threats and the risks of AI. Yeah, so Ms. Kutin, you can, as usual, you can always start.
Okay, so I think I'll start with the basic everyday uses we have. I think Doc mentioned things like autocorrect, which is something we do very frequently. We also have another powerful use case, which is maps and navigation. So that's one of the widely applied area. We are able to see AI demonstrated. So let me just, I'm sure we've all used maps. So if, assuming I am currently at Tema and I want to come to the university at the moment, I can search and say I want to come to the university. And then the AI powering this would ask me, where are you at? Where are you at that you want to move to the university? So I would say I am at Tema here. And we see that for the application of AI, we should have an interface for collecting the data. In this case, so there's data that has been pre-trained on the models at the background. And then there's always a front side where you can engage with. So we don't see our brains, but we have eyes, we have ears, which receives information and then passes that on to the brain to make a decision. So immediately you tell the AI, I am at Tema. The AI is very intelligent in this case. It already knows that walking, driving, using a motorcycle would result in different time when it comes to reaching your destination. So it would ask you also, what is your mode of transportation? If you mention vehicle, then it will now give you directions based on that. If you are going to use a motorcycle, you see that each time it is changing, and then it's also able to give you the distance and the time it will take. So we have 32.3 kilometers, which is calculation of the distance. And this is very, very powerful AI at work, and predicting how long it will take you to arrive at Tema. Sorry, as UPSA from Tema. And then if I was to start engaging, it would now move to navigation mode, where it will tell me to start off, I need to start from this location, drive left, turn right. So all of those things which we experience on a daily basis is the use of AI in action. And it is a very simple use case and non-scary at all whenever we engage with it. We also see the use of AI frequently in recommendations. So a lot of people have social media accounts and are on social media accounts and are consistently being fed videos, images, and engagements promoted to them based on AI and then algorithms that are directing this content promotion. So when it comes to AI, some of the everyday uses, which is most frequent within our environment, is on social media for recommendations, and then also when we need to travel using maps and navigation. I'm sure Doctor has a lot more to add, so I'll leave it here.
Okay, all right. So we can hear from Dr. Dixon concerning the usefulness of AI, and if you have some few everyday examples, we'll be happy to look at them.
All right, sir. All right, thank you again. So we are looking at the usefulness of AI. Now, one will ask, the usefulness is more related to a friend or a foe or both, depending on how one will want to use AI. Now we have a robot here asking, am I a friend, a foe, or both? And an expert here telling us that AI is a double-edged sword that could either be a friend or a foe. Now let's look at some usefulness of AI. Now, when I talk about usefulness of AI, I'm still relating it to why it is our friend. Now, AI has been widely used and applied in a whole lot of different areas of life. In automation, today we have self-driven cars that make use of AI a lot. And then we can move to our destination just sitting comfortably, and then with the aid of maps, it's able to take us to our destination properly. Now, AI also helps make smart decisions. Now, it has also improved or enhanced customer experience in the sense that today, if you should call any bank or maybe call any of the telcos at any time, we still have automated chatbots that are talking to us until we are satisfied. And if we are not satisfied, then it finally sends the call to an agent where we can speak to the agent, in person. And today, with this same idea, we can book airline tickets, book movie tickets, book hotel reservations via AI, whilst we do not need human intervention. Now, when we come to the medical field, today we have robots that helps or plays a major role in the medical field. For example, if you look at the Da Vinci robot, the Da Vinci robot is the very first robot that has been able to perform the heart surgery in less than 30 minutes. And then when we look at Nurse Grace, a robot called Nurse Grace. Nurse Grace is also a robot nurse that plays major role and able to attend to thousands of patients in less than 1 hour. Now, AI also plays a major role when it comes to research and advances. And in problem solving, it also helps in increasing business efficiency, minimizing human errors. So there are some errors that humans will easily make, but then robots will not make such mistakes. Now, robot or AI also helps in managing some repetitive tasks. Now, let's look at some applications or some demonstrations that I'm going to put up here. Now, in the area of research and education, so I'll be having some demonstration on these 3 basic AI tools. Now, we all know about the popular ChatGPT, right? So the ChatGPT basically is an AI-powered language model approached by OpenAI. So for ChatGPT, you can just open it and then make any query and add it. And in less than few minutes, you see a whole lot of wonderful response you are going to get. Then we also look at the Marlin AI, which is one of the world's most powerful AI chatbots. So for example, maybe you are into research and then you have a paper about 10 pages or a paper of about 2 pages. You are feeling lazy to read all, but you only need a summary of those 2 pages. Marlin AI is there to help you. Now we also have what we call the Tutor AI. For the Tutor AI, it is a computer-based system that can also provide tutoring by answering questions and providing feedback as well as assessing students' progress. So this is a self-learning platform being made by AI. So I would want to demonstrate so that we can have some fair idea as to what we are talking about. Please, I believe we can all see my screen. So
Yes.
this is with ChatGPT. Okay. So once you log in, you have this interface. Now we can basically ask ChatGPT to do virtually everything for us. And then it is even now taking jobs of most people. So let's imagine ourselves that ChatGPT is doing the job you are doing now. How are you going to feel? So that is a question for us to think about. Now I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to write a code for a pizza restaurant website. For a pizza restaurant's website homepage in HTML and CSS. Let's say most of us here are not computer programmers, but then I'm just going to use ChatGPT to help show us how we can also make use of AI to help us in our everyday activity. So I just tell ChatGPT to write a code for me. Okay, so we can all see here that ChatGPT has started writing codes for me, whilst maybe I'm not even a programmer. So it is writing a code for a pizza restaurant's homepage. So we can all see that it is still writing the code. Okay. So this is one wonderful, applications of AI, or one tool of AI that is really, really helping in today's world. That non-programmers and people who are not IT inclined can also make the best out of it. And then it works better than humans. Okay. So this is just an example. So it is still writing codes for me. It is still writing codes for me. So I can now copy this code. Once I copy the code, maybe get any of the text editors, either Notepad or Sublime or anything, any text editor. Okay. Then I can choose to paste this code. Once I paste the code, I save the code. Okay. So once I save this code, I can see it on my desktop as pizza. So we have the code here as pizza. Once I open this website, in less than 2 minutes, we have a website homepage that we can see welcome to Pizza Place, order now, fresh ingredients, fast delivery, online delivery, etc. So this is one powerful tool that can really help us in increasing our efficiency. Now I would also jump on to what we call the second tool, which is Marlin AI. So for Marlin AI, let's say I visit, let's say I am on Google, and then I should ask the website, maybe I come to google.com and then I type, I want the Bitcoin prices in the near future. I have so many tabs that I can read on. But then let's say I'm feeling so lazy, I just want an overview. So we can already see that I have Marlin AI already installed in my computer. And then right from here, it gives me a summary of this page. So I do not need to read almost every tab to see what it's telling me. But then I already have a summary here. And with this same understanding, I can also choose, maybe I come to Google Scholar, and then I want to make a research on this paper. I click on this paper. Once I click on the paper, I have a whole lot of content here, but I only want the summary of it to help me in writing my research. Okay, so I can just select maybe this whole page, this paragraph, and then ask Marlin to summarize this paragraph for me. So once I press it to summarize, we can see that Marlin is giving me just a short summary of what this page is telling us, or what this document is telling us. So once I'm researching and I'm in my literature review stage and I really want to get some idea about some papers. I don't need to read the whole paper, but then Marlene can help me to just get summaries of all these papers. Then thirdly, I will talk about Tutor AI. So with Tutor AI, once you go to this link called Tutor AI, it tells us to learn everything. So for example, I want to learn about artificial intelligence. Okay, so once you type what you really want to learn, it gives you models as to what artificial intelligence is all about. Okay, now it tells me to start learning. So if I click what is artificial intelligence, it is going to generate some kind of models for me that I can learn from. Because this is not a premium website, I haven't paid for it, so I have only 3 queries to enter. So we can all use this and then see how it works. Then we can also now look at, so this is in the area of research and education. Now we can also look at it in the area of gaming and productivity. So here it tells us that AI gives us correct input and intelligent play and intelligently to play games that generate maximum points in milliseconds. So it tells us that even when it comes to games, AI will do it 1 million times better than humans. So I have one of our childhood games here, which is called Tetris. I believe we can all see my screen. So we have one of the childhood games called Tetris. Okay, so I would want to, demonstrate how I will play it versus how computer will play, and then we look at it. So this was developed in Python using AI. Okay, so here we can see that we are saying that press B for the bot to play, or press P for me to play. Now I would want to play it, so I press P. Now you can see how slow it is, and I would have to think, what shape am I supposed to put this in before it fits for my first flow? Now with this, I will still have to think and then keep playing the game. I would still have to think the type of shape it is supposed to be in before I play. And we can see that I am trying my best, but it is not the best. I'm trying my best, but it's not the best. I believe most of us are familiar with this game. It is more of our childhood play. Now, I would also want to demonstrate using AI to play this game for us. So I press B. I believe we can all see how fast AI is playing it. It is 1 million faster than I am. And AI here, this tells us that AI can perform better and much, much more better, and it is efficient than us humans. So thank you. I want to, demonstrate one last stuff, and then we look at, now we can look at DALL-E. DALL-E is also a tool, an AI tool that can create realistic images just from the languages we put in. Okay, so if we should take DALL-E here, so we should visit this website. DALL-E is a tool, AI tool. Now, if you go try DALL-E, then it opens up. So now we can see that we do not even need graphic designers anymore. AI is doing the job for graphic design. Now I can say maybe a couple. I want a picture of a couple at the beach, sunset, and then you press generate, and then we can see that it's going to be generated for us. Okay. is going to be generated for us. It's going to be generated for us. So just with this, we are saying that a couple at the beach at sunset, and then we can see we have this designs here. So AI here it's really here to help us and then to help us grow. So this is just one demonstration, and then I'll do the last one that we can end there. So now let's look at AI also as a delivery bot. So we have this Starship AI. This is a delivery bot currently used in the Ohio State University. Now we can all see that it is a robot. This robot is there for just deliveries, to deliver food to lecturers and students at the comfort of their offices and then their labs. Now let's imagine during COVID, and then they came out with this. Let's imagine maybe the sun is so hot, you really want to order some food, and you would have to step out to go and get it yourself. But then this is the case where we have AI being a useful tool for delivery. So all we need to do here is just download the Starship app on our phones. Once you download it, you can easily, fill in the details and all that. Now this AI is intelligent enough to obey traffic, etc. It is human friendly and everything. So some advantages of this delivery bot is one, it saves time. Once you are busy with lab and then you cannot, just go out for 2 hours for lunch and everything, you can easily order for the food using this delivery bot on the app. So once you order for this food, it also tackles distance. I believe my learned colleague also spoke about the maps. So AI also makes room for using the shortest possible path, so that the food will be delivered on time. So once you order for the food on the app, it looks at the possible shortest path and it tells you exactly the time it is going to arrive. Now, once the food has been placed in it, you can see that it is moving to its destination. And then two, it is very safe. It is safe in the sense that once you order for that food, you are the only person who can block it with your app. And then in terms of COVID or this post-COVID era, this delivery bot is really playing a major role in helping people to be contactless. Now, it is also sustainable in the sense that it doesn't produce any kind of emissions of gas that will not help the green environment. So here we can see that the delivery bot has got the food, and then with the app, they open this bot and then they take out their food. Now, it is also cost effective than delivery services, because once you pay, it is more like a one-time payment, which is less expensive and then can make us very, very efficient. Thank you.
Yeah, interesting. It's getting interesting. Thank you so much, Ms. Putin and Dr. Dixon. So now that we have a good idea of the usefulness of AI, so the next question is, in what ways are AI systems a threat or an enemy to an individual, a business, and society as a whole? Please give illustrative examples and demonstrations if you can. Yeah, so so we are getting into the enemy threats. Ms. Kutin, you can start.
All right then. So there's something which is the main reason why we would want to say AI is either an enemy or foe, is based on two main things: decision making and automation. Those two powerful abilities are the ones that really makes the question of whether AI is a threat or it's an opportunity the main discussion for a lot of people. There's this research McKinsey brought that predicts that by 2030, 70% of organizations would have used at least one AI. And I really like the last example Dr. Dixon gave on the automated bots. So it kind of sets the tone for this conversation for me. And I'd like us to cast our minds a little bit back into time when we had our regular post office. So when we had our regular post office, when I was growing up so many years ago, we did not have email. When I was growing up, there was no email. Internet proliferation was very, very low. I'm sure it was limited perhaps to research and military zones. But internet access, connected devices grew. And as it's continued to grow, new applications of that capability came up. So it became the infrastructure layer, connected devices, internet access became the infrastructure layer to build more technologies. And one of the main things that came up that really transformed everything was the innovations around communication. So email came, and what happened to some of the existing services like post office? Post office services and postal services got minimized because the number of people who were using postal services for career purposes reduced because people could communicate fast, at speed, efficiently on email. In fact, instant. So we are speaking here because we can converse as if we were all at the same place, sitting in the auditorium on campus, but we are not because technology has enabled it. What it means is that some other functions have had to become redundant or become obsolete, and then new ones have come up. And the new ones, so we have career services in Ghana. We have a lot of delivery companies. We use them. We buy online. We buy on Instagram, on WhatsApp, or phone call. And then they dispatch the items to us. We are no more using the post office. Now we've come to automated bots, like it was demonstrated. Automated bots means that the layer that came up next after the post office primary usage era, which is the delivery services and the motorbikes we see a lot in town, that layer is going to be transformed or transitioned. So these are the main reasons why when we speak about AI, people get questioned. Is the debate start, is it a foe or is it going to be a friend? Because of its ability to make decisions and then also take over automation, so that the things that were done by 5 people would maybe need only 1 person to do that job. So in the good example, it's just the staff of the restaurants who will package their food, key in the address into the machine, and the machine does everything else. Initially, they would have needed maybe a delivery van with an assistant or use a dispatch rider to attend to that. But that has reduced. And then also, if you think about it, in our Ghana use case examples, when a dispatch rider gets to your location, they normally would call a phone. They normally would call your phone. I'm within this neighborhood. Where are you? So automatically the telecoms company gets an opportunity to make income, to employ more engineers, to employ customer services. If the AI delivers the food, the number of people who are affected or are no more needed also includes the telecoms company. It has moved beyond just the courier person who has no opportunity there again. It has now moved to the telecoms as well. And then also the motorbike rider, the motorbike manufacturing or sales company or dealership. So I'm just giving these examples to illustrate the effects of AI. And that's why we are having this very powerful conversation, because with AI, one good application means that several other things have automatically become redundant. And then also, the good thing about AI is that immediately AI becomes prevalent, 1,000,001 things are also now possible. Okay, so 1,000,001 things are also now possible. So for instance, if we look at the business application, we have things like customer retention. So assuming we were engaging with a business frequently and we stopped engaging with it, the AI could have noticed that the pattern of engagement or frequency of engagement has suddenly dropped. Because of this drop, let me quickly engage with this person and see, find out why they are no more coming, or make them an attractive offer so that they can start coming again. So for instance, for the university, assuming we notice the AI is deployed, an AI model that watches students' enrollment per term or class attendance for each subject, there's an automatic way of badging into every class, and then the data is taken. Immediately there's a drop in class attendance, the AI can inform, make the next decision, check up on the students who were absent, or inform the lecturers that these students are missing your lectures and it wasn't in their habits previously. So let's check up on them. What can be done? Or if we take the AI further, the AI can actually send a message to the students and say, hey, we noticed you didn't come to lectures today, all okay with you? These are the notes for study today. You see, at that moment, what happens? Loyalty and an enhanced experience is gained, because in this case, the AI is able to make the students know that, oh, the school is thinking of me. I didn't come to class today. Perhaps I'm sick. Perhaps I had an emergency, but the school has automatically thought about me and sent me lecture notes. And this is something that enhances the experience for students. And this, for me, is a very good example, good use case of AI being a friend and then not a foe, which is very important as we transition into this new age of artificial intelligence. So we always need to think about it in terms of what are the opportunities for enhanced decision making, what are the opportunities for automation, which we can take advantage of. And it's very critical as we have these conversations, because a lot of the time we only think of the AI from a very negative perspective, but there are also a lot of positive aspects which I would want us to think about. And for each negative item, there's a new opportunity which is bigger than the negative ones the AI would generate. Just like when we lost this majority of the services that we were enjoying or we were taking up from the post office, new ones came up, e-commerce came up. Today, people are making money sitting in their rooms because we have evolved digital services. However, if they failed to innovate, it would have led to their redundancy or non-usefulness again to their society. For businesses generally, the major considerations are new competitive threats. Okay, so for instance, going back to the post office example, there initially was no one could compete with the postal services really, but based on digital innovations, now a lot of career services have come up. Even businesses themselves have embedded career activities within their services. So there's always going to be new entrants into your space, which never existed before. There's also the potential to have reduced revenues. And then also, one key thing is customer expectations would be extremely high. When people experience a service and they are delighted by it, they would expect that as a business, you should also be able to offer the same level of experience. Okay, and because we are in a global village now, connected by technology, your customers would experience delightful services from global businesses. Okay, you may originally have limited your customer delighting expertise and then threats to your customer delighting capabilities within, let's say, those in Accra. But today, they would be buying and receiving services from businesses overseas. And if the experience is a delightful experience because they are using AI to power their service delivery, automatically your service delivery is going to be questioned, because they would ask, oh, how come I have this and you don't have this? How come I can experience this? It's like those times when I used to work in a bank and we started with digital banking innovations. The banks that couldn't offer that, the customers were complaining and actually moving to the banks that could offer that. So it's really key for us to always think about AI as an opportunity to innovate, to deliver 100 times more capabilities than we could have done before, instead of thinking of it in terms of the threats alone. Okay. So I think I can stop here.
Yes, okay. You can pause here, and I know you are getting into the opportunities and the usefulness, and there's opportunities and threats as far as the AI is concerned, and that's good. That's good. So I will let Dr. Dixon also come in concerning the threats.
All right, Doc, thank you very much. So concerning the threats, I'm still going to, projected to talk about something first before I'll have a short demonstration. All right, so for the threats, we are saying that AI today is considered as the great replacement. Now, one would ask what is meant by the great replacement, but then I'll still talk about it maybe later. Now, is the threat real? This threat we are talking about, is it real? Now, I would answer by saying that AI is not a threat. It is a decisions humans will make when they have access to this AI. So once you have access to this AI, as to how you use it will determine whether it's going to be a threat or it's going to be useful to you. Now, I would also want to talk about some truths about humans. Now, for us humans, one, we are so expensive. Imagine you have a company and then you have to hire a lot of people to work for you, meaning that you are going to do a whole lot of payment, and then it is so expensive. Then two, we are unreliable. Unreliable in the sense that, or humanly in the humanly sense that maybe today I'm supposed to do something, but I'm not too well, so I'm sick. I am unreliable. Maybe my assistant who is supposed to take it from me, the daughter is sick, so he or she took the daughter to the hospital, meaning that the work that is supposed to be done is still there. So humans are unreliable in this area of, explanation. Now we are also very slow. Maybe once we are supposed to complete a task, maybe we might take a series of days or even weeks to finish one task. Now, why do we say AI is a fool? So I have just a few areas I'll speak on and do a demonstration of one. Now, when we talk about artificial intelligence, it feeds so much on data. It feeds so much on data to make predictions. Now, once we are also online, definitely we have websites and other malwares that are collecting our data, that collect our individual data. Sometimes we do businesses online, we make payments with our credit cards, we fill in very vital information online. And one disadvantage of AI is that once they have access to this data, it means that we have privacy issue, because those informations are kind of private to us, but then AI does not realize that it is private to us. So they also use it for their training and then prediction. So let's imagine some few days back, let's say 3 days ago, ChatGPT had a challenge, and people that upgraded to ChatGPT 4 and paid with their credit card details, their phone numbers, etc., were just online. So once we are able to do transactions online, maybe I can say I want Dr. Owari's credit card number. And because he has also been doing businesses online, some way, somehow, AI will be able to help me generate his credit card number. And in that area, we can say it is a fool. Now we can also talk about deepfake. We can talk about deepfake. So I think I'll take deepfake last. Now AI is also a criminal's best friend in aid of hacking. So today we have a whole lot of hackers who can just go to any mall and then with some automated devices in their pockets, once they get close to you, automatically picks your credit card details. And then they sell this information to people out there for their malicious intentions. Now, AI is also emotionless. Emotionless in the sense that, for example, maybe if you should take an AI app like MindDoctor. MindDoctor is an AI app where it's able to communicate with you, to advise you as to what is wrong with you, just like a physical doctor would do. But then let's say one has HIV/AIDS. The physical doctor here will have a nice way of communicating that sickness to you. Because sometimes the mere fact that you even have HIV/AIDS, once you hear that, it breaks you down. But then a physical doctor here will have a very nice way to go around it by telling you. But then with AI will just combine some algorithms or it will take its decision from the inference base and then the knowledge base, and then tell you straight ahead that you have HIV/AIDS, which is, it doesn't add any emotions to whatever it is supposed to tell you. And I believe my learned colleague also spoke about unemployment, creating a whole lot of unemployment. And then to create AI is also very, very expensive. We really need huge amounts of money to, create AI. Now, let me come back to deepfake. Now, with deepfake as a fool, today we can use a whole lot of AI tools in creating fake news and fake videos all over. So I would want to demonstrate something for all of us to see here. Okay, so with this algorithm, I have this algorithm here called the first order model demo, which was written in Python, and then it's basically for deep fake. But then because Python takes a whole lot of time to process, maybe if I want to process it here, it might take some time. So I'll only show us the output. So I think I have a picture of my HOD here, Dr. Kofi. So this is Dr. Kofi, who is my HOD. Now let's say I want to use Dr. Kofi's picture to send or to solicit for funds. Okay. Now, as I have Dr. Kofi's picture here, I also have this video of this white man here. So we can see that. So we can see a white man singing. Now I want to mimic Dr. Kofi to sing exactly like this white man. So through a series of process, going through this whole AI model. Now I have my final output here. All right, so I believe we can all see an example of the deepfake I'm speaking about here, where we can use an image of maybe an important personnel to solicit for funds. So maybe I can also have a video of Mr. Kofi asking people for $5,000 or $100. So I think I made a video of myself saying that. All right, so here I'm saying that my name is Dr. Kofi, and then I need $1,000. Can you please be of help? Dr. Kofi is not aware of this, but then because I have his images, I can use deepfake. All right, so here we can see that Dr. Kofi is now soliciting for funds, whilst I am using my voice and then his image. So we can use AI to train voices. Like if I get Dr. Kofi's voice, I can use it to, spread fake news and all that. But whilst deepfake is a foe, in today's world, it is also a friend. Because today, most of the broadcasting houses like CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, they are all now using deepfake, where they do not need the telecasters to be seated in their offices and then read news to people. They can just mimic their voice, and then with their picture, wherever they are, you only need to read. And then deepfake will now use their images, and then whilst they speak, deepfake also enables them to, speak perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dixon and Ms. Putin, for enlightening us concerning the threats of AI. Now, my last question before the floor will be open for the Q&A is, okay, so we've heard about the pros and cons of AI. So the question then is, what measures can one take in order to make good use of AI? What measures, or how should we go about exploiting AI for our individual business or societal, benefits? Yeah. So, Ms. Coutin, you can start, and Dr. Dixon can follow up.
All right, then. So for me, I would like to start from the individual perspective. So what we have is we now have a lot more. We would have an enhanced lifestyle. Our work life, our living abilities, how we experience and connect with each other, how we love each other, how we express ourselves would be powered by AI. It means that we now have unlimited opportunities to express ourselves, to work, to take advantage of the technology, to do and progress much more than we could ever have in the past. So for instance, when we had this opportunity to have the webinar, we shared it, and a lot of people who hitherto would not even have known that UPSA has an event, a very great opportunity to learn, would not have had a chance to get to know and use this. But because we have ability to expand and scale this information using technology, a lot of people are here today who wouldn't have known. So for us as individuals, we are supposed to look out for what opportunities are AI going to offer me at all times, and then how can I take advantage of them? And the way I live, the way I work, the way I relate with others, and the way I earn new opportunities to earn. And a lot of skills is needed. A lot of technology skills is needed, and abilities is needed to be able to take advantage of the explosion of jobs within the AI and AI related space that would come up, or AI powered space, which would open up income generating abilities for a lot more people. So we will need to acquire new skills. We will need to learn a lot of new things which we didn't know before or was not previously part of what we were taught to be able to handle it. We will also need to understand the threats that exists with AI so that we can be guarded and mindful. So for instance, the deepfake example is an example of being manipulated. So how can you guard against being manipulated? How can you guard against change of your culture? How can you guard against being discriminated against because you are different or you fall into some category that an AI model may not have been trained with? So you can be biased. So we would have to consider all of those things and be guarded, learn new skills, and take advantage to have an enhanced life for individuals. And also for businesses, the main thing is to take advantage and deliver superior services and offerings than we possibly could have before, to take advantage to scale our operations, to reduce the time it takes to deliver work, improve our operations, increase our productivity, and then make more money as businesses. So the opportunities for innovations are enormous for businesses, for individuals to, the opportunities to take advantage of the web and learn new skills that are needed to make the usage possible also exist. And also the kind of threats it presents means that we need to have knowledge on this artificial intelligence and what it means and guard against those things happening for us and also for our loved ones.
Yeah, thank you, Ms. Putin, for enlightening us on how we can exploit AI. So, Dr. Dixon, you can come in now on that question.
All right. Thank you much. Thank you very much. So, on how we can exploit AI, from my last presentation, I spoke about AI being the great replacement. So, we are saying here that in the past, AI has already replaced many jobs. So many jobs have been lost to AI. Now in this current information age, which is the present, AI is replacing a whole lot of thinking. Now we can, from my demonstrations, we can see that AI is really helping us to be kind of lazy and then also to improve efficiency. Now in the future, will AI replace everything? So I think this is where we are now considering AI as in exploring more in AI. Would AI replace everything? So this is where developers and AI learners are all moving towards. Now, I would also say that being terrified by AI, so in respect to individuals and businesses, being terrified by AI, rather we should use it to our advantage, because AI is more of a friend that can help us to be more efficient compared to working by ourselves. Now, we should also examine AI in diverse lenses and perspectives. We shouldn't limit ourselves to what we already know. We can always explore AI, or there's an AI tool that can help us in diverse lenses and then in different perspectives. Now, finally, I'll also say we should also consider AI to be a friend that can help us perform better and then help us with more money as compared to being a fool. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And so I can see the audience, the participants are itching. They are really itching to come in with their questions. So at this stage, I will hand over to the MC to manage the Q&A session for about, I think, 15 minutes or so. Then we'll ask the chairman to wrap up with his concluding remarks. Okay, so MC, Mr. MC, are you there? I've finished.
I'm here, Vaisdin.
Okay, all right. So I had a structured interaction with my panelists. So now I'm handing over to you for the Q&A session.
Thank you so much, Vice Dean. And I also want to thank our panelists. I think we've heard from them and quite an elaborate discussion on the topic at hand. We would quickly want to go into the Q&A session so that, yes, I see HOD Dr. Kofi. Dr. Godfred is online. Dr. Kofi is online. His hands are up. Doc, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Fueda. I want to take the opportunity to thank our resource persons. In fact, they've done a good job to the subject, and I've learned a lot, and I know all of us gathered here online have also learned a lot. Thank you so much. I want to ask this question for the purposes of our students who are also with us. What are the key technical competencies that one needs to venture into AI? The key technical competencies, taking into consideration the fact that it's not so easy getting a bachelor's degree or diploma degree in AI in our part of the world. We are still doing IT and IS and all those things. So what are the key technical competencies if one wants to venture into AI? Thank you.
All right. So Miss Cotton and then Dr.
MC, may I suggest that you take maybe 3 or so questions, then they can come in. Or I know it's at your...
Okay. So that was, I think we have a couple of questions in the chat. Let me quickly add 1 or 2 to HOD's question. Then okay. So Dr. Prince is online. His hands are up. Please go ahead. Then we can add 1 more before we allow our panelists to. Dr. Prince, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you for this insightful conversation. So we've seen what AI can do for us, and we've also delved into whether it's a foe or a friend. But for me, what I want to know is the regulations surrounding the AI space. That is to say, without regulators to regulate the AI space, I think anyone who has money and some power can use AI to do bad things, and it will become a fool. So I would like to know if there are any regulators in terms of international regulators or standards that control the AI space. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Prince. So we add 1 more question to it, and then we allow our panelists to do justice to the questions. There's a question from Jennifer. Jennifer asks, he said, from the submission so far, it seems AI still needs human input in its operations. Then she goes further to ask, can the idea of the world shifting to a solely dependent or robotic system be a fallacy? He said, if so, do you agree with this assertion? Could you clarify or give a clearer picture of an AI unoperated by human systems? So in addition to their question, please add that of Dr. Kofi's question on the competencies needed for AI, as well as Dr. Prince's on regulations in the AI space.
Okay, I would like to go first, and I'll take the educational requirements. And so, interestingly, when it comes to AI, a broad range of expertise is required before a model can be developed. So, for instance, we saw the use of ChatGPT, and for ChatGPT to come this far, there are a lot of skill sets that are needed. There are a lot of programming skills, which is something all the universities offer. Software engineering. Software engineering is a key component. Mathematics and appreciation and understanding of mathematics and ability to apply mathematics is a very key need and component. Understanding of domain domain for application. So when we talk about domain, we are talking about in the deep industry knowledge. So for instance, AI as applied to medicine will not be AI as applied to education. And AI as applied to education will not be the same as, let's say, to tourism. So there's always going to be the need of domain experts who know that specific details within a domain. There's also those who would create the knowledge hubs, which will become the inference models for the AI to be used. And there's also a lot of applied statistics, which is required to deliver AI. So it's a broad spectrum of skill sets that is required. I know some universities have started teaching artificial intelligence specifically, but it's not, it's more around higher education and applied usage of artificial intelligence. But when it comes to specifically artificial intelligence, because it constitutes so many other skill sets, I think it's a very good opportunity for everyone. When I do career coaching for people, what I try to help people understand is the depth of technology and the depth of skills that is required. So when you are going to an educational institution, you can already be very sure of the outcomes you deserve, and then also be sure of where you want to end up. Okay, so for instance, if your strength is not around business analysis, okay, but your strength is around engineering, building AI models, ability to do business analysis to understand the use case, which is in this case, the purpose for which an AI model would be developed, is not going to, you don't need that knowledge because you don't even have that strength. Ability to do business analysis, to understand problems, to be observant, to feel, to communicate and extract user needs is something which an analyst should be able to perform. And an engineer or software engineer who has knowledge in the language, who is able to build AI models, would not need that. And what I've seen with all AI companies, or whenever AI is applied, is that it's always a team effort. And in the team are a variety of skills that are needed. So for instance, when we look at ChatGPT, again, as a very good example, you realize that ChatGPT is a language model that does conversations. So the problem it solves for is search and knowledge. It doesn't solve for courtroom decisions. Okay, courtroom decisions would have a different type of model, which would be built based on the regulatory framework of a legal system in a jurisdiction. So you can't even deploy ChatGPT alone based on that. However, if it is to understand legal processes and general knowledge on legal matters, then that would be used. But before they would deploy it within a courtroom, they would make sure that the experts who know that terrain are involved in its design and implementation. And in a way, it also goes into the question around regulation. So I think I've answered that question. When it comes to regulation, it's still burden. It's still coming up in Ghana. There are a lot of bodies that have been working around policies to create a framework within which AI will be used responsibly. I've been in a number of stakeholder engagements, but as a country, for instance, in Ghana or ECOWAS or even AU, we haven't come up with the regulatory body to regulate AI, and it's mainly because AI has been researched. It's based on a lot of research that a lot of that, the contributors to the research have been academia and industry. Academia, who are very strong and the main owners of research in the world, and then industry, who are looking to apply AI to make money. And the two, academia and industry, started first. So regulation is now coming up within various jurisdictions and economic jurisdictions to see how that can be managed to ensure it is used responsibly.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Cotton. Dr. Teddy, you might want to have a bite in a minute or two so that we'll go to the next round of questions.
All right. So with the very first question, I think Dr. Kofi was asking about the key technical competence that one would need before they can venture into AI. So I would say if you really want to understand, how AI works or what goes behind the scenes, with some of the examples I displayed, how it really works or what goes behind the scenes, then you really need to go into computing and programming a lot to get this done. But let's say you are just a regular person who has the interest to study AI. There are so many tools today that, one, you only need to be a self-learner, and two, you should also be determined to, learn something new. Once we are in this, 21st century, it is prudent that technology keeps evolving. So one would also have to, also get abreast with the technologies that are coming up. So even if you have a company, you are just a novice in IT, you can still dive into AI and then just get to know its application, rather than not saying you are not a computer person, so you wouldn't want to venture into it. Now, secondly, for the regulatory bodies of AI, today we have a whole lot of regulatory bodies that are popping up, even with the great replacement that is, pushing now, telling us that would machines replace humans? Now, here we have bodies like IEEE, and even recently, I think Elon Musk called for regulation for artificial intelligence development, because the rate at which it is going now, it is even getting scarier. Now, the last question, I think one person asked.
Yes, on the shifting of dependent AI robots as to whether it's a fallacy, and it's on the premise that AI would still need some form of human input in this decision-making process. He's asking if you agree with that.
No, I think artificial intelligence cannot replace humans. They cannot. I'm saying this because we humans are the very first and best kind of artificial intelligence, or the very best kind of computers. Now, I'll give some reasons why I'm saying this. One, because AI lacks emotional intelligence. Because looking at humans, we can always have different emotions pertaining to the work we are doing. Now, two, we can also talk about AI can only work if we input data. Once we don't input data, there's no way AI would work. Then three, I'll also say AI's creative process is limited to the data it receives. So if I should feed it with a limited data, it will only work with that limited data. It cannot overwork that data it receives. So it works with the data that it is able to receive. Now, for AI, it does not have any soft skill. AI doesn't have any soft skill. So we would have to teach this device or these machines to have those skills. Now, finally, I'll say it is humans that make AI work. Once I don't give it a green light for it to start working, there is no way it will work by itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you too very much for those wonderful answers. We take the next set of questions, and this one is from Rejoice. Rejoice is asking, can you use AI in project management? Roland also asks, what are the ethical considerations in developing AI? So if you can take those two set of, okay, so before that, Sadiq wants to ask a question. So we'll add Sadiq's question and then you can speak to the three. Sadiq, please go ahead. You can unmute and speak.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks so much for the seminar. It's very insightful. Once the presenter mentioned novice, I am motivated to ask my question. I am one of them. I want to know what we normally refer to as deep learning and how does it actually relate to artificial intelligence?
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
Please. That's
all
my
right.
question. Yes.
All right, Sadiq. Thank you. So Sadiq is asking
Welcome.
how deep learning is associated to artificial intelligence. And then Roland, let me just quickly go through again. Roland is asking the ethical considerations in developing AI. And then Rejoice is asking if we can use AI in project management. So Dr. Teddy, if you can start, then Ms. Cotton would speak to it. Dr. Teddy.
Yeah. So
yes, if you can begin on that.
We're starting with deep learning and then artificial intelligence. So I would say that deep learning is a type of machine learning and artificial intelligence so deep learning is a type of both machine learning and then artificial intelligence. And then it helps us to imitate the way human gains certain knowledge. So deep learning is one of the algorithms. It's one of the algorithms that helps AI to think, to reason, to see, and learn. Please, I hope you understand. So deep learning here is one of the algorithms or the ways or methods by which these machines will learn or gain some kind of knowledge. Then if I should take Mr. Roland's question, he's asking
the ethical considerations.
Ethical considerations.
Yes.
Now, if we should look at some ethical challenges, we will talk about the information privacy. We will talk about automation bias. We can talk about its safetiness and resilience. We can talk about the ethical auditing. So maybe I'm trying to put up an AI system, but then, like we said, we already have domains of knowledge of domain people, where we have to check if morally, what we are doing, is it going to suit us? So we look at the moral responsibilities. We can look at how it caters for privacy, how it caters for maybe the environment around us. And then we can also look at auditing that ethical rules of whatever project we are putting up. And then finally, the last question.
Can AI be used in project management?
Yeah, definitely. AI can be used in project management. So like we said, we have a whole lot of tools that today even makes project management very easy. So I think the person who asked that question can look at an AI tool called Recap.
Right.
Recap easily helps us. And then the person can also look at Synthesia, where it helps us in even having our presentation, giving us wonderful graphs and pie charts, and then everything. It helps us to really be very effective when it comes to project management. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Teddy. Ms. Winifred.
I believe we can just take the next set of questions. So that's
all right. Okay. All right. So we still have some few minutes for questions. Please, if you have any question you want to ask, just please go ahead. You can ask in the chat, or you can just raise your hand. You will be unmuted, and then you can go ahead with it. Okay. So there is a question coming up in the chat. It's from quickly, let me see. It's from David. David is asking, how can we balance the benefits of AI with concerns about its potential unintended consequences, such as reinforcement of existing biases or widening economic disparities? Maybe we might want to add this one to it, and then it, because AI as well as democracy is concerned. What do you think will be some of the implications, AI on democracy, and then the Institute of Human Agency, will it really how is it going to undermine human decision making as far as democracy is concerned? So I just wanted to tie in this one to the question on the widening economic disparities. Thank you. So if you can quickly address those ones.
All right then. So when we look at the first question around how we can manage the benefits of AI with the concerns around potential unintended consequences, I would say, fortunately, the AI creation is a process. So it's a process of gathering data. It's a process of building models, algorithms. So the instructions that you write, and then also the results that are generated from the instructions, and then the retraining of the AI models using the different types of data are the places where the unintended consequences can be avoided. And they are also the places where we have an opportunity to ensure we responsibly use AI. So I'll give an example. So for instance, in our company, at Corporate Labs, we do a lot of credit risk assessment models. If we are going to build a credit risk assessment model, for an instance, an agriculture business that is looking to offer farmers input on credit so that they would have a whole farming cycle and then they pay back, we would have to think about all potential scenarios of unintended consequences. So you can't be using AI models for decision-making and automation and not factor in unintended consequences. And for me, I really like to strongly put in the fact that we need a lot of domain expertise whenever AI models are being used, just because of the ability to make automated decisions. The next is that what data sets do you use to train the AI models? So for instance, when we see ChatGPT in usage, it's trained based on available data on the internet. Anything that exists on the internet and has existed on the internet before is the source of data input. So if the information on the internet is biased or limited, the AI model will be biased and limited. And we can even try it out now. We can go and ask the AI model a very, very intricate details around a Ghanaian ethnic group's cultural practices. And I can assure you, if no one has ever put that data out there, AI cannot give you an answer. So the data we use to feed and train the AI has to be responsibly checked. The people who design the algorithms must be responsible and must consider all factors to be considered, okay? And then their own limitations, they must be mindful of that. So for instance, I'm not in academia. I am an applied technologies expert. I am not into development of technology as a researcher either. So if I talk to you, I can only speak from the limitations of applied technology in solving problems. I cannot speak or train an AI model in terms of deep knowledge that a researcher or someone in academia would know. So we always need to be considerate of our own limitations whenever we are going to build AI models, so that we don't project our biases into the models. And then when they are automated and they make decisions, then there are a lot of unintended consequences. And we've seen a lot of those unintended consequences happening over and over again, even within the very big companies like Amazon and then at Apple. So these are the things that we must be mindful of when we develop AI. And then also when we look at ethical use, especially around the area of governance, we spoke about ability to manipulate people using AI because of the recommendation of content abilities of social media companies. So the data or the information that we get fed on a daily basis, especially for people who live their lives fully on social media. They have a bigger risk of being manipulated compared to people who do not feed themselves a lot of information. There are people whose entire life is dependent on information as received by social media and as received by digital sources. If those digital sources have been manipulated in any way or have some biases in the outputs you receive, you are going to have a behavior based on the manipulations that the AI algorithms has fed you, okay? And then if there are issues around gender, ethnicity, race, religion, these biases also get passed on again. And then cultural alterations, this is something which is happening a lot already, even from normal TV. Now you can imagine if AI models are trained based on someone else's culture, but not based on your culture. It means that each time that is going to be affected. So when it comes to things like governance, policy design, there's room to be manipulated is high, because if the general population, for instance, who would vote for a candidate have been manipulated by continuously being fed from different sources, some kind of information which is not the truth, or which is manipulated or biased to ensure someone looks up, is projected in a particular way, then it means their voting decision is hampered, because they are going to make decisions based on the information they have received, which has actually been tailored to ensure they think in a particular way.
Right.
So for me, these are the kind of issues that we need to deal with when we go all the way to governance and policy for a nation.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. For the sake of time, we'll take the last round of questions. Dr. Teddy, you have the first bite. Andrew, please, you can unmute and then ask your question.
All right, thank you very much. I've been really happy about this program that you have held. It's quite an enlightening one. I just want to know that, yes, after that, would this recording be shared? Now, my question regarding investment, and then, yes, I know the lady was touching on the credit. What about investment, for example, because it involves some level of, making a lot of decisions. For example, look at the recent collapse of banks in the US. How could AI, be able to be involved in people who are holding money, in some of those cases, to be able to predict and say that, oh, looking at this kind of investment, please don't go there, like the pyramid schemes and all that usually comes in our country. People are much uninformed. How can, AI be used in this investment space for, people being able to protect their money and make good judgment? Thank you very much. These are my two concerns. Yeah.
All right. So thank you. Thank you very much, Andrew, for your question. So we take another question, and it's from Vizin, and he's asking this question on behalf of his students. The students are asking, is email an AI? If not, why? How is chatbot considered as an AI and email not? And then maybe the last one, which is my personal question, is what should be the nature of our conversation on AI use in education, especially in Ghana? And I'm saying, I asked this question on the premise of a personal experience that I had some few days ago, where a student of this university was busily doing an online exams using ChatGPT. And so what should be the nature of our conversation as far as the integrity of our examination is concerned? What should be the nature of the conversation in Ghana? So Dr. Teddy, you may start, and then Ms. Cotton would come briefly in a minute so we can close.
All right. Thank you very much. So with the very first question, I think he asked about investment with AI.
Exactly.
So today we can use AI to predict and make decisions about investment a lot. We can use AI in applications of investment. So for example, today we have a whole lot of Ponzi schemes. Since the inception of Bitcoin, we've had different types of coins that have popped up. And I can confidently say that AI is able to predict that maybe this lithium coin wouldn't stay in the business field for the next 10 years. And then rightfully, we can see that that coin doesn't have a future. But then with some investments like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, today we use AI in predicting if they are really going to stay, and then even in their pricing, we use AI to help us predict. So AI plays a very big role when it comes to investment because of its prediction nature. Now we are asking if email is an AI.
Yeah.
I'll say yes. If we should take Gmail for example, it is now smart in a way that we use it to manage all our mails. You can even have, automated responses. We can even have AI to, read our emails and then respond to us whilst we are even busy. AI today is intelligent, and then it has been applied in the area of emails a lot. And it also helps in optimizing the emails we send. We can simulate that, okay, at 2 o'clock, send this email to this number of people. And then AI will do that for us. AI can also be used to segment email lists, where we can say, okay, send an email to maybe only people in administration. So we can have a segmented list and then use AI to do that. AI can also be used in creating email newsletters. So today we do not even need to stress ourselves having email newsletters. AI can help us do that. And we can have a clear demonstration of that even in our Gmail. And for the last question, what should be the nature of conversation we have about AI? So like I said from the beginning, AI is not a threat, but as to how we use it, we'll let it be a friend or a foe. Once we are in the 21st century, which is the information age century, we should rather consider AI as a friend to explore in different lenses so that we can get the best out of it. So for example, now most universities are frowning on ChatGPT, but then it is also producing very good stuff. Students are using it for assignments and all that. And right after that, we are also having plagiarism checkers that make room for such ChatGPTs, where it will be able to tell you that an AI wrote this for you, so it will not be accepted. So the rise of plagiarism checkers are also on the rise. And I believe conversations should rather be skewed towards making it a friend than seeing it as a foe. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Teddy. Ms. Winifred, in a minute, you might want to, so that we can proceed.
Yes, so just the first point Andrew made. So because AI is trained on historical data, if an event is very new and has never occurred before, an AI model could not have been able to predict the occurrence of the event. So in the case of the US banks that have and the issues around Credit Suisse and then the other bank, if the circumstances around that there was sufficient enough data captured to predict the trend, to say that if a bank, these attributes within the banking landscape occur in this manner, then an AI model could have been used to predict the potential issues. And then unfortunately too, when it comes to banking, a lot of the information may not be available. So except what is published for listed companies, or for what the bank would intentionally publish in terms of its financials, there may not be enough sufficient data, except a research is categorically carried out by research experts in that domain and collect a lot of very valuable data over a period where the occurrences happen a number of times. Then we can say that, oh, when a bank shows these signs or this kind of attributes are present, then an imminent collapse is going to happen. So I think this would be a very good research use case for us. But generally, when it comes to predicting stock performance, as an example, AI has been used and is used a lot in Wall Street to ensure they get it right and they buy stocks that perform well.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Miss Winifred, and then Dr. Teddy, for your responses to the numerous questions. Because we have spent a lot of the time, we'd like to just conclude, and we'd like to take the closing remark from our chair, Mr. Selom. If you are online, please, your closing remarks.
Yes, I'm online. This has been a very, very fruitful discussion. Like everybody else, I have also learned a lot from what has been discussed. For me, the thing is this, for one of the takeaways that we have to take away is this: AI is not one size fits all tool. It is important for us to note that artificial intelligence is just, you should think of it as an assistant for whatever automation or decision support activities you want to do. I also believe that one of the core essences, or one of the core things that AI would have to do, or people have to do, is that we all have to see ourselves, especially those of you, the younger ones who are now coming to go into your careers. You have to see yourselves as contributors to very good sanitized data. That is very, very important, because AI is about building models. If we do not contribute or begin to develop the right models to collect the right data, it will come back and bite us. I remember that in 2019, I was in a conference in the United States, and they were talking about health and ways in which they can use technology to detect cancer. What they had done was that they had taken models from Caucasians, Europeans, and Americans. And there was very little, in fact, only about 0.5% of the data was taken from people of African stock, and that was even those who are African American. Africans, who form about 20% or 25% of the world's population, were only represented by 0.5% of the data. What that meant was that any model that is used then to try and detect cancer will not have the right, parameters to even help us detect cancer, because we do not have any data store, any data sets that can be used. And I realized that that is where we really need to begin to look at. And for most of you who want to build careers in IT and many different areas, apart from just being able to find out and contribute data, the future is about defining and owning these data sets, because for anybody who goes to an IT class, one of the first things you are told is that garbage in, garbage out. So if we put garbage into the systems that we build, we are only going to get garbage out of what we have. So it is very, very important that we're beginning to look at these things and begin to, for those in faculty, etc., we're beginning to look at areas like data auditing, how to clean data, etc., and begin to build expertise on those things, so that once the industry evolves and once the industry grows, we will be able to then answer the questions around morality, as in our Ghanaian and African context, as in ethics around our context, that will be unique from what the university.
I think you are muted. Mr. Selom, can you please unmute?
To be continued in the future. So for me, I think I thank all of you I thank the speakers, Dr. Kutin and I've forgotten the other name, Dr. Wilson, right? Dr. Wilson. Thank you very much for your contributions. They have been very amazing. And I believe that we all have quite a lot of things to chew on and think about, even as we look at how these will affect our careers and our future plans. And for some of us, we would also be dabbling in the space, and we hope to contribute very much to this space to be able to, predict the trend for the next 20, 30 years.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much for those concluding remarks and those take homes. We'd like to invite Dr. Amanda Quist to give us the vote of thanks.
Oh, okay. Good evening, everyone. I mean, we've had a lot of information, so I'll just go straight to the point. It has been such a great honor to be part of this wonderful program. And I'm sure that you have all learned several new things from this series. On behalf of the faculty management, first of all, I will wish to thank God for making this program possible and successful. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed chairperson, Mr. Selon Bratti, the Vice President of Imani, for taking his time off his busy schedule to be with us, at this scheduled program. And then a sincere thanks go to our panelists, Ms. Winfred Cotton, a technology and innovation expert, as well as our own lecturer, Dr. Dixon Kediwenyo, an IT expert from UPSA, who handled the event throughout with their insightful information and knowledge. I must also acknowledge the organizing team for their hard work in lead up to this webinar, and not forgetting our Dean, Professor Emmanuel Asamoah, our Vice Dean, Dr. Emmanuel Owusu Oware, and our HOD, Dr. Godfred Koi Akrofi, for their various contributions. Thank you. And then finally, a big thank you to you all participants for your presence here and for making the time to be with us today. I think we should give ourselves a round of applause for making this webinar a sounding success. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Amanda. Thank you very much. So based on that vote of thanks, we would like to take the closing prayer from Dr. Hannah Tenye. Dr. Hannah, please go ahead if you can hear me. Dr. Hannah?
Yes, thank you very much. Let's pray. Father, Lord, we thank you for this meeting. We thank you for the insightful knowledge that we have gotten. We pray, oh God, that this information and knowledge will go a long way to help the students, to help the department, and to help the university as a whole. We pray that the energies of the panelists, Father, Lord, restore them. We pray for anybody who has contributed to the success of this seminar. Father, Lord, we pray that you replenish them. We thank you, Lord. Give us the life that next time we shall meet again and have a good seminar. We thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Dr. Hannah, for the wonderful prayers. Well, all too soon, we've drawn the curtains down. We hope that today's seminar has provided you with those valuable insights and better understanding of the potential of AI and the challenges that come with it. In fact, we encourage every one of us to continue the conversation from here and keep learning about these advancements in AI and how they impact our lives. Please, in case you have questions, don't hesitate to contact us. Ms. Cotin has already provided her details, and I'm sure if you need details from the other panelists, you should get it from us. So please don't hesitate to contact us. Take care, and we hope to see you next month on the part 2 of AI within the month of April. So thank you very much for coming. God bless you all, and enjoy the rest of your evening.